All right, so today we're going to go through what I want you to put on your periodic table. Remember, this goes for that first 5 minutes of your before you start on your test. So we want to make sure that you put everything on here possible so that you can remember. When we do our brain dumps, we want to take everything off of our brain and make sure we put it on this paper so it can be less clutter in our thoughts. So the first thing we're going to do is focus on this portion over here. This portion is set aside for our speed, velocity, and acceleration. Speed, we're going to label that with an S. And speed has 2 points that give us speed. And they are distance and time. Okay? Velocity gives us 3 points. One is distance. The next one is also time. And then we also have a direction. And last for this section is acceleration. And we know acceleration means speed up, slow down, and in the middle, change directions. Okay. The next section of our periodic table that we're going to complete is the triangle section. So the triangle section, we have 3 triangles. The first one is our density. We're going to make our triangle with the 3 sections, and we're simply going to follow the formula. So in the formula, we see that mass and volume are on top of each other, meaning that we need to divide. So if they're on top of each other in the formula, they need to remain on top of each other in the triangle. And all of the only thing that we have left is density. Next triangle is our speed triangle. We have distance on the top and time at the bottom. And we're going to go ahead and fill in with speed. Next, we have our force triangle. Notice that this one looks a little bit different. These mass and acceleration are side by side. So we're going to put them side by side in our triangle. And then we're going to add our net force at the top. The next thing we have to put in our formula cheat sheet is Newton's laws. First, we have law number 1, which is our inertia law. And this simply says that an object in motion stays in motion, an object at rest stays at rest. So object in motion stays, object at rest stays. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and put our symbol. And of course, we know Miss Walker can't draw, but that's my symbol of a person in the car using the seatbelt. Then we're going to follow our second law, which says more mass, more force, less mass, less force needed to accelerate. And so we're simply going to put fam fam. So here we have the more force you use, the more acceleration. The more mass you have, the more force is needed. And the more acceleration you have, the less mass you have. Okay? And we can simply remember that because during this time we talked about the bowling ball. Bowling ball versus a marble. Okay. Now, next is Newton's third law, which is action reaction. And this one says for every action, there's an equal but opposite reaction. And of course, we know that our symbol for that is our rocket ship. R for rocket. Remember, it applies a force and then it gives an equal but opposite force. Okay. Now we're going to fill out this bottom portion with a few things that we recently learned. The first is our lunar cycle. We know that our sun needs to go at our belly button. Right in front of the sun, we have our new moon. And we know it moves to the right hand side. So our next moon up, you know what? I forgot something. We need the earth. So our next moon phase that we move to is a waxing crescent, and the light's on the right. Then we have our first quarter moon, light still on the right. Then we have a waxing gibbous, light on the right. Then right across from the full moon, from the new moon, we have a full. After a full, we have a waning gibbous. Light is on the left. Then we have a third quarter or last quarter moon. Light is on the left here. Then we have our last moon, which is our waning crescent. The light is still on the left. And that takes care of that. Now, beyond that, we can still use this portion for tides. We don't have to worry about this portion. I like to use the same one. Remember, a spring tide goes straight across. It's when the earth, sun, and moon line up during the full and the new. So this will be our spring tide. And then we have these cross moons here, which will represent neap tides. And remember, they make an L shape, like your knee. Next, we have seasons. Now, this is where the sun, and I want you to turn that paper just a little bit, okay? And so the sun is going to be at the center, and then we're going to have little mini Earths going all the way around with our axis, of course. And we know our axis is tilted, north and south axis. So if our axis is tilted towards the sun, we have summer. If our axis is tilted away from the sun, we have winter. And what comes after summer? Fall. And what comes after winter? Spring. And I forgot to label my sun in the center. Now, also remember that in the winter, we have long winters. And then in the summer, we have long days. I'm sorry, in the winter, we have long nights.